welcome to another small sewing tutorial for the Julius Christopher Sewing and Design Academy. My name is Chris. I will be your teacher for this small little tutorial. Today we'll be talking about facings. These are interesting little slightly complicated pieces of fabric that you add to your garments in order to help you finish edges more beautifully and also to add some stability around the edges of garments. So like for instance, if you have a neckline that's cut out or something, you don't have a collar attached to it, 9 times out of 10 you'll probably put a facing on it to make it look better so that the edge turns in nice and clean and it looks great and it's presentable. Even in nice wedding gowns and dresses, and probably in some coats. I know in blouses they have facings. In your dress shirts, you obviously have facings. We call them plackets in your dress shirts, but it's essentially a facing basically that's just turned either towards the inside or sometimes decoratively it's turned towards the outside of the shirt, and it's a facing. So anyway, so let's start here. So you have two basic types of facings. You can have an all-in-one facing, which is when you have, for instance, your neck and your armhole may be all one whole facing and combined. Or another one is, which is kind of different, is the placket, like I mentioned just a second ago. And the placket is basically okay, for instance, let me draw really quickly here. Okay, shapes. Okay, so let's assume this is your basic bodice. Okay, we're not going to put a dart here. It's going to draw it up. Okay, that's horrible. So we'll try that again. Oh, my straight lines are just not very straight. Okay, there's that. Now, this extra piece is like you're facing. Now, of course, it looks a lot better when you're actually doing it in the thing, but this is just a little quick sketch for me. So here you have your regular bodice. This is your center front. Your facing, when it's attached to the bodice, just comes out here. So it's almost like you take a piece of paper and you fold it along the center front line, and up to about here, you draw a line going straight down, parallel to your center front, and then that gives you the shape of your facing, because that's all it is. It's a very simple shape. This neckline is a mirror of this neckline, and then this line is just the same as when you drew straight down here. Okay, so that's an all-in-one placket facing. Now, of course, separately, you can sew these separately. They don't have to be together. The placket can be totally separate, and you can just sew down the center, but it adds unnecessary bulk right to the edge of your shirt. Now, if you want that edge to be a little more firm, then, that's up to you. But you already have, you know, 9 times out of 10 in your dress shirts, you're going to have like a collar. And since you're going to have that collar, you'll be sewing the collar right onto the neckline edge. If you're already going to be folding the placket back on this way. So the fabric's going to be doubled here. So once you add a seam line right here, it's going to thicken the fabric right at the edge or the tip of where the collar sews to. And it's going to be too thick and it may break your needle, because also with your collar, you're going to be sewing through multiple thicknesses because of the nature of how you put on a collar. So there's that. And then the neckline armhole combination placket would be something like this. Let's take this, we'll draw straight down as straight as we can. Okay, there's that, come out, come up, over, up. So let's say that this is your bodice, Okay, and we're going to take our squiggly drawing tool here. Now, an all-in-one neck and armhole facing would be something like this, and then it would come down like this, and then it basically would be encompassing both facing the neckline and the armhole. And these aren't too hard to sew. Just starting out though, they are a little more complicated than just doing separate facings for each one. But personally, I think the garments tend to look a little better, and it depends on the case. And it also depends on, you know, the effect that you want to have on it. If you're not doing a lining, then I would suggest doing the separate one. Or you could do the separate one and get away with it, and it wouldn't be, you know, a humongous difference. It is on the inside of the garment, so you won't be able to tell whether you do a separate one or not. But if you are attaching a lining, this one would be the better option. That way, at least you would have one complete facing, and then the lining could be the rest. Now, something that I noticed, well, let's go ahead and talk about the separate ones, and then I'll just put it here. Let's say facings in high in retailers. Okay. Facing linings. Oopsie. Yeah, okay. So let's talk about separate facings really quickly. Okay. So separate facings. Shapes. Okay. So you have your neck, and that is basically something like this. That's going to be your neck facing, okay? Really simple. And you could also have your armhole facing, which is the same thing, just for your armhole. And that would be something like this, okay? That's basically what it is. There's nothing really difficult about understanding what a facing is, or even what it does. It just helps to stabilize the edge, because you're only going to use a facing on an armhole if it's sleeveless. If your garment has sleeves, there's no reason for a facing there. That would be completely incorrect. And, you know, maybe there's a situation out there where there is that, but I don't think so. Other than that, let's look at the neck facing one more time. Something else, and just like I mentioned a second ago, when you have the all-in-ones and it's attached here, you can have a placket that goes like this, and that's the one that we looked at first. And, okay, let me use a straight line, and that'll help us see it a little better. Okay. You can have a facing that just looks like this, and this is a facing that's been folded back, and it's here, okay, and it goes into the neck only this much, so technically this is not a neck facing. Now once you get into doing a neck facing, let's see if we can make a curved line. Delete, insert shape curve. Oh, isn't that nice? It's retarded looking. We'll delete that too. My apologies. We'll do this one. Okay. So you can come like this and like that, and that's how, or one way, that your neck facing can look. The only bad thing about this is there is this sharp corner in here, and that's not going to be fun fixing. So, just so you know ahead of time before you do that, the proper way to do that would be like this, and then put a slight curve in the edge. And of course this can be more curvy in here. And I'll just draw on top of that. Shapes this. Okay.